A German Shepherd will cost you more than the price on the breeder's website. Not double, not triple, sometimes 10 times that number, spread across a decade of your life in payments you never see coming. The puppy price is the cheapest part. That number on the listing, the one that made you wince a little before you decided you'd find a way, that's the entry fee. That's the cover charge at the door. The real bill comes later, in pieces, in moments when you least expect it. And most people only find out when it's too late to back out. By the time the second emergency vet visit lands, by the time the food bill becomes a line item you actually budget for, by the time you're replacing a couch for the second time, you're already in love. You're already committed. The dog is already family, and nobody can return family. So here's what I'm going to do for you today. I'm going to walk you through the true financial cost of a German Shepherd, not the cleaned up version, not the breeder's brochure, the real number, with all the hidden lines added back in. By the end of this, you'll understand something about owning this breed that most people only learn the hard way, after the money is already gone. And you'll know whether you're ready, not emotionally, not romantically, but financially, in cold daylight, with your eyes open. Stay with me, because the part that surprises people most isn't the big bills. It's the small ones that never stop. Let me tell you about the gap. There's the German Shepherd people picture, and there's the German Shepherd that actually lives in a house. The one people picture is on the calendar, standing on a hilltop, ears up, coat shining, eyes locked on the horizon like it's guarding a kingdom. Noble, clean, effortless. The one that actually lives in your house is shedding into your morning coffee. I mean that literally. You'll pour the cup, set it on the counter, turn to grab the milk, and when you turn back, there's a single strand of black and tan fur floating on the surface, like it owns the place. You'll fish it out, you'll drink it anyway. By month 3, you stop fishing. That's the gap. And the gap costs money. Because the dog in the calendar photo doesn't need anything. The dog in your house needs everything. Food that doesn't wreck its stomach. Vet care that isn't cheap. Training that takes either your time or your wallet. Exercise gear that wears out. Replacement everything. Because this is a powerful animal, living inside a space built for humans. People see the photo and budget for the photo. Then the real dog moves in. You imagine the loyal shadow at your side. You get that. But you also get the mud. The trail of paw prints across the hallway you mopped an hour ago. The drying clumps you'll step on barefoot at midnight. You imagine the protector at the door. You get that, but you also get the destroyed door frame from the separation anxiety nobody warned you about. The image is free. The reality has a price tag on every single piece. And here's the thing nobody says out loud. The cost of not knowing is the worst cost of all. Because when the bills surprise you, you make panicked decisions. You buy the cheap food and pay for it at the vet. You skip the training and pay for it in destroyed furniture. You delay the checkup and pay for it in an emergency. The owner who knows the true cost up front spends less over the life of the dog than the owner who finds out one painful surprise at a time. So let's stop guessing. Let's add up the real number, line by line, the way nobody at the breeder's house wanted to. Here's the first hard truth. The purchase price is a rounding error. Whatever you paid to bring the dog home, whether it was a few hundred from a shelter or a few thousand from a breeder with health-tested parents, that number is going to look tiny in about 2 years. I want you to really sit with that because it's the trap everyone falls into. People agonize over the upfront price. They compare breeders, they negotiate, they feel the sting of handing over that money, and they think that sting is the cost of the dog. It isn't. It's the deposit on a decade. A German Shepherd lives, on average, 10 to 13 years. Every single one of those years has a cost attached to it. Food, vet care, preventatives, gear, grooming supplies, training, insurance if you're smart, boarding when life happens, replacement of the things the dog destroys. Add it up across a full lifetime, and you are looking at a number that lands somewhere in the range of $15,000 to $30,000 for one dog. And that's if nothing goes seriously wrong. Now listen closely. That range assumes a healthy dog. It assumes you never hit a major surgery, never face a chronic condition, never get blindsided by an emergency at 2 in the morning. The moment one of those things happens, the number jumps, and it jumps hard. People hear 15,000 and they think, okay, spread over 12 years, that's manageable. But the cost doesn't spread evenly. It clusters. It hits in lumps. The puppy year is expensive. The senior years are expensive. And somewhere in the middle, life throws you a curveball that costs more than your purchase price all by itself. Here's the concrete picture. Imagine the breeder's invoice sitting on your kitchen table the day you brought the puppy home. You felt that one. You remember the exact amount. Now imagine, 4 years later, a different piece of paper on that same table. A vet's estimate. For a procedure your dog needs. And the number on that paper is bigger than the breeder's invoice ever was. That's the moment people understand.
The purchase price wasn't the cost of the dog, it was the cost of getting permission to start paying for the dog. So if you've been comparing puppy prices and thinking that's the decision, the price is the easy part. The price is the only part you'll ever fully control. And that brings me to the one that surprises people most. Food is not a small bill. And it's never going to stop being a bill. A German Shepherd is a large, active, athletic dog. A grown male can hit 80, 90 pounds of lean muscle. That body needs fuel, and it needs the right fuel, because this breed comes with a stomach that betrays it more often than people expect. Here's what nobody tells you. You can't just grab the cheapest bag off the bottom shelf and call it done. A lot of German Shepherds have sensitive digestion. Switch their food too fast, feed the wrong thing, hit the wrong ingredient, and you're cleaning up the result off your kitchen floor at 6 in the morning. On a workday, in your socks. So you learn to feed quality. And quality costs. A good large breed food for a dog this size runs you a real monthly number, not a coffee money number, a real one. Multiply that by 12. Then by the dog's entire life. That alone, just the food, just keeping the dog fed properly, climbs into the thousands and keeps climbing every single year you own the dog. And it's not only the kibble, it's the additions. Many shepherds need supplements for their joints, and we'll get to why their joints are a ticking clock in a minute. Some need special diets for allergies. Some need digestive support. The dog that does well on a basic food is lucky. Plenty don't. Then there's the part of food costs people never see coming. The food that doesn't work. You'll try a bag, the dog will react badly, and now you've got most of a bag you can't use and a dog with an upset stomach. You'll try another. Trial and error with a sensitive German Shepherd stomach isn't free. Every wrong guess is money in the trash and a mess on the floor. That sounds small. It is not. Over a lifetime, the food line is one of the biggest single expenses you will carry. Bigger than the purchase price. Bigger than most people's annual vet spend. It just doesn't feel big because it leaves your account in small monthly chunks instead of one painful hit. That's the trick of it. The bills that bleed you slowly are the ones you never brace for. Picture the bag in the corner of your kitchen. The big one. The 40-pounder. You buy it, you haul it in, you think it'll last. And it's gone faster than you believed possible. So you buy another. And another. For 10, 12 years. That's a German Shepherd's appetite, and it is relentless. Now here's where the breed becomes real. The vet bills. This is the section where I lose the people who want comfort. So if you only want the nice version, this is where it gets heavy. German Shepherds are a wonderful breed. They are also a breed that comes with a list of known health risks, and that list is not short. Let me walk you through it plainly, without turning into a medical lecture, because you need to understand what you might be signing up for. Hip dysplasia. This is the big one for the breed.
It's a malformation of the hip joint, and it can range from mild to severe. Severe cases can mean surgery, and hip surgery on a large dog is not a few $100s. It can run into the thousands per hip. Some dogs need both. Elbow dysplasia. Same idea, different joint. Same potential for surgery, same kind of bill. Degenerative myelopathy. This is the one that breaks hearts. It's a progressive disease of the spinal cord, and it's more common in this breed than most. It slowly robs the dog of the use of its back legs. There's no cure. What there is the cost of managing it. The carts, the support harnesses, the extra care, the time, and the slow, expensive decline of a dog you love. Bloat. This one can kill in hours. The stomach twists, and without emergency surgery, the dog dies. That surgery, in the middle of the night, on an emergency basis, can cost several $1,000s all at once, with no warning and no time to plan. Deep-chested breeds like the German Shepherd are especially at risk. Then there's the everyday stuff. Allergies that flare up and need management. Ear infections because those big upright ears catch everything. Digestive sensitivity that lands you back at the vet again and again. Here's what all of that actually means. You are not just buying a dog. You are accepting a risk profile. Most German Shepherds won't get every single one of these, but across a lifetime, the odds that you'll face at least one serious health expense are real. Not guaranteed, but real enough that planning for it isn't pessimism. It's responsibility. And this is where pet insurance enters the conversation. Because the people who survive these bills financially are usually the ones who insured early, before the conditions showed up, when premiums were still reasonable. Insurance is its own monthly cost, another line on the list. But the alternative is staring at a $4,000 estimate with no plan and an impossible choice in front of you. I want you to picture that choice, because it's the worst one a dog owner ever faces. Your dog is in pain. The vet has named the problem. There's a treatment, and then there's the price. And you're standing in a fluorescent-lit room doing math you never wanted to do, weighing a number against a life. Nobody wants to be in that room unprepared. That's the hard truth about this breed's health. The love is free, the medicine is not. And the dog can't tell the difference. It just needs you to have a plan. So let's talk about the cost almost nobody puts on the list: training, and what it costs when you skip it. A German Shepherd is one of the smartest, most capable dogs on the planet. That's the selling point. It's also the bill. Because a brain that powerful in a body that strong is not something you can ignore and hope it turns out fine. This is a working breed. It was built to think, to work, to have a job. Give it nothing to do, and it will invent a job. And the job it invents will cost you money. Here's what nobody tells you. The training cost isn't really the trainer's fee. It's what happens when you don't pay it. An untrained German Shepherd puppy chews. Not little nibbles. Real, destructive, jaw-powered chewing. People lose shoes, sure, but they also lose baseboards, couch cushions torn to the foam, a coffee table leg gnawed into kindling, drywall in the bad cases. I've heard of dogs eating through walls during a panic attack you didn't know was coming. Every one of those is a replacement cost, and it adds up faster than any training class ever would have. Now picture the adolescent stage. Somewhere around 6 months to 2 years, you've got a dog with the body of an adult and the impulse control of a toddler. It's pacing the living room because its mind has nowhere to go. Circling. Restless. That energy doesn't disappear. It comes out as destruction, as barking, as digging, as the kind of behavior that gets dogs surrendered to shelters. So you pay for training, group classes, private sessions if the issues are serious, A board and train program if things have really gotten out of hand. And those run into real money, easily 1,000 or more for a few weeks. Or you pay in another currency. You pay in time. Hours every week, for months, working with this dog, because a German Shepherd that isn't worked is a German Shepherd in trouble. That sounds small. It is not. Your time is a cost too. The early morning walks before work. The training drills in the backyard when you're already exhausted. The mental stimulation, the puzzle toys, the scent games, the obedience work that this breed needs every single day. Not as a luxury, but as a basic requirement for staying sane. Skip it, and the bill doesn't go away. It just changes shape. It becomes a behaviorist fee after the dog has bitten someone. It becomes a fence repair after the dog escaped. It becomes a lawsuit in the worst cases, because a powerful, untrained, frustrated German Shepherd is genuinely capable of doing damage. This is where the breed becomes real. People want the loyal, brilliant, protective dog from the videos. They don't realize that dog is the finished product of relentless work. The raw material is a powerful animal with a powerful brain and no off switch. Picture yourself standing in the backyard in the rain. It's cold. You're tired. You'd give anything to be inside. But the dog hasn't been worked today, and you know what tomorrow looks like if you don't. So you stay. You throw the toy one more time. You run the drill one more time. That's the training cost. It's not a class, it's a lifestyle. And it's the cheapest insurance you'll ever buy against a dog that becomes a problem you can't afford. And that brings me to the cost that hides inside your whole life, the lifestyle tax. This is the one that doesn't show up on any invoice, but it touches everything you own and everywhere you go. A German Shepherd doesn't fit neatly into a human life. It reshapes that life around itself. And every place it doesn't fit, there's a cost. Start with your home. The shedding alone is a financial reality. This breed sheds year-round and then blows its entire coat twice a year in a process that has to be seen to be believed. You will own a good vacuum, and you'll burn through cheap ones until you finally buy the expensive one built for pet hair. You'll buy lint rollers by the bulk pack. You'll replace furniture that's worn down, scratched up, or permanently covered in fur no matter what you do. Then there's the damage that isn't behavioral. It's just physics. A large dog living in a small space wears that space down. Scratched floors, worn carpet on the path the dog patrols, the door frame it leans against, the wall by its bed. None of it is malicious. It's just what happens when an 80-pound animal lives inside. Now think about travel. The moment you own this breed, every trip gets more complicated and more expensive. Boarding a German Shepherd isn't cheap, and not every facility will take a large, protective breed. A good boarding kennel or a trusted sitter is a real per-day cost, and it stacks up fast over a long weekend, let alone a real vacation. Some people end up not traveling at all, or only going where the dog can come, which means dog-friendly hotels, which charge more, and longer drives instead of flights. Here's what nobody tells you. This breed limits your options, and limited options cost money. You can't just book the cheapest last-minute flight and figure out the dog later. The dog is always part of the equation. Always. There's the cost to your housing itself. Some landlords won't rent to a German Shepherd at all. Some charge higher pet deposits and higher monthly pet rent for a large breed. Some require additional liability coverage. And in some places, your homeowner's insurance gets more expensive or restricted the moment you own a breed on their list. People have been forced to switch insurers entirely over their dog. That's a cost that shows up in your premiums for years and never announces itself as a dog expense. But it is one. Then there's the gear. The leashes that wear out and snap under the strength of this breed. The harnesses you'll size up as the puppy grows into a tank. The crate big enough to hold an adult, a real crate, a strong one, not a flimsy starter. The toys, because a German Shepherd destroys cheap toys in minutes, so you end up buying the heavy-duty ones built for power chewers.
and even those don't always survive. Picture the leash itself. That nylon lead biting into your fingers the first time a young shepherd lunges at something it wants. You feel the strength in it. You understand, in that one moment, why the cheap collar and the cheap leash won't cut it. So you upgrade. And you keep upgrading as the dog gets stronger. That sounds small. It is not. The lifestyle tax is the steady drip that never turns off. It's not one big bill you can brace for. It's 100 small adjustments to how you live, and almost every one of them costs something. Here's the part that ties it all together. You don't just buy a German Shepherd. You restructure your finances, your home, your travel, your insurance, and your free time around one animal. And you do it for over a decade. That's the true cost, not a number. A reshaping of your entire life. So let me give you the last hard truth, and it's the one that ties the whole thing together. The biggest cost is the cost of getting it wrong. Everything I've told you so far assumes you do this right. You feed well, you train consistently, you stay on top of the vet care, you plan for the bills. But here's what happens to the people who don't know all this going in. They get blindsided. And the blind side is the most expensive path of all. It looks like this. Someone buys the puppy on impulse, charmed by the photos, sure that love will be enough. They feed the cheap food because money's tight. The dog develops stomach problems, then skin problems, then ear infections. And now they're at the vet constantly, paying far more in treatment than they ever saved on food. They skip the training because they're busy. The dog grows into a powerful, anxious, understimulated adolescent. It destroys the house. It develops separation anxiety. It starts reacting to other dogs on the leash. Now they're paying a behaviorist hundreds of dollars an hour to fix problems that prevention would have stopped for free. They didn't get insurance because the dog was young and healthy, and it felt like wasted money. Then bloat hits at midnight, or the hips give out at age 5, and they're staring at a 5-figure decision with nothing set aside. And here's the cruelest part. Sometimes the cost of getting it wrong isn't even money. Sometimes it's the dog. Because the German Shepherd is one of the most surrendered breeds in shelters. Not because they're bad dogs, because people underestimated them. They couldn't handle the energy, the intelligence, the needs, the cost. So a brilliant, loyal animal that bonded to one family for life ends up in a kennel, confused, grieving, wondering what it did wrong. That's the true price of not knowing. It gets paid by the dog. I'm not telling you this to scare you off. I'm telling you because the people who get it wrong almost always started from the same place. They thought it would be easier and cheaper than it is. They loved the idea of the dog more than they understood the reality of it. And that's the hard truth. The German Shepherd doesn't punish people who can't afford it. It punishes people who didn't plan for it. There's a difference. You can be on a modest budget and own this breed beautifully. If you go in clear-eyed, with a plan, with money set aside, with realistic expectations. What you cannot do is wing it. This is not a breed you can wing. Picture the dog watching you from the doorway. Quiet, steady, taking in every move you make, the way this breed does. That dog is going to give you everything it has for the rest of its life. Total loyalty, total devotion. It asks for one thing in return, that you were honest with yourself before you brought it home. So now you know the real number, and I'm not going to pretend it isn't a lot, because it is. But here's the part I've been waiting to tell you. After everything, every bill, every bag of food, every early morning in the rain, every chewed-up shoe and scratched-up floor and sleepless night, ask anyone who's done it right whether it was worth it. They won't even hesitate. Because what you get back doesn't fit on a spreadsheet. You get a dog that chooses you, completely, for life. A German Shepherd doesn't love casually. It bonds to its person with an intensity that other breeds can't touch. It learns your moods. It reads your day before you've said a word.
It positions itself between you and the door, between you and the dark, between you and the world, because somewhere deep in its blood, it decided your safety is its job. You get a partner, not a pet, a partner. A dog so intelligent it can learn dozens of commands, anticipate your routine, work alongside you, and meet you halfway on almost anything you ask, once you've put in the work to earn it. You get the walk where the wind is cold and the dog is glued to your side, glancing up at you, and you realize this is the most uncomplicated love you have ever known. You get the quiet evening where the dog rests its head on your foot and sighs, and the whole expensive, exhausting reality of it melts into something that feels like home. That's what the money buys. Not a dog. A bond that most people go their whole lives without ever experiencing. But, and this is everything, that bond is only available to the people willing to pay the true cost. Not just the money, the attention, the consistency, the planning, the willingness to put this animal's needs into the structure of your actual life. The German Shepherd is not the wrong dog. Let me be clear about that. It is one of the greatest dogs that has ever walked beside a human being. It is just the wrong dog for a careless life. It is the wrong dog for the person who wants to wing it, who buys on impulse, who hopes love covers what planning should have. For that person, this breed becomes a heartbreak and a financial wound. But for the person who goes in with open eyes, who saves for the vet bills, who feeds right, who trains hard, who reshapes their life on purpose, this dog becomes the best decision they ever made. The cost stops feeling like a burden and starts feeling like a privilege. Because you're not paying for a dog, you're investing in a decade with a creature that would, without hesitation, give its life for yours. That's the reckoning. That's what nobody at the breeder's house tells you, and what every honest German Shepherd owner already knows. The price was never the problem. The problem was always whether you were ready to be the person this dog deserves. And if you've watched this whole thing all the way to here, and you're not running for the door, if anything, you're more sure than ever, then I think you might be exactly that person. So here's the one thing I'll ask you to do. If you want the full picture, watch the companion video where I break down exactly how to budget for a German Shepherd month by month, so none of these costs ever catches you off guard. That video turns everything you just heard into an actual plan. Because the people who thrive with this breed aren't the richest ones. They're the ones who walked in with their eyes open. And now, so do you. Welcome to the people who chose this breed knowing exactly what it costs, and chose it anyway. If you love German Shepherds and want to understand them better, stay with us. Watch the next video on screen now, and don't forget to subscribe to the German Shepherd channel for more training tips, behavior insights, and loyal moments with this incredible breed. See you in the next one.